In the grand tapestry of history, few figures loom as large, as enigmatic, and as powerful as Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt. She wasn't just a queen, she was a force of nature, a woman whose very name has reverberated through time, inspiring awe and curiosity across centuries. But who was she really? Cleopatra was not merely a ruler, she was a master strategist, a scholar, and a seductress, yes, but so much more. Her intellect, her political acumen, and her ability to command not only armies but the hearts of the most powerful men in the world, Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, are the stuff of legend. Yet, what of the secrets we still don't know? What of the parts of her life hidden in the shadows of history, obscured by time, by myth, and by the cruelty of those who sought to erase her legacy? Her reign began in the heart of a crumbling empire. Egypt, the land of the pyramids, the cradle of civilization, was at the mercy of Rome's expanding reach. Cleopatra, young, but wise beyond her years, saw the tides of change and chose not to simply survive, but to thrive. She became a woman whose intellect matched that of the great philosophers, whose beauty was rivaled only by her shrewdness, and whose ambition knew no bounds. But let's be clear, Cleopatra's true power lay not in her charm or her alliances with Rome's great leaders. No, her power lay in her understanding of the world. She was a queen who could read, who could write, who could speak multiple languages. She was a diplomat, a warrior, and a poet, and her intelligence was her most potent weapon. Her story is not just one of love and politics. It is the story of a woman who fought to keep her kingdom independent, who knew that in a man's world, she would have to be extraordinary to remain a ruler, not just a puppet. And remain she did, until her tragic end, a queen who, in her final moments, chose death over dishonor. Cleopatra's legacy is a timeless reminder that true power is not defined by the throne one occupies, but by the way one shapes the world. Her secrets? Perhaps we will never fully know them. But the lesson she left behind, of strength, of intellect, and of unyielding determination, will echo through the ages. She was Cleopatra. A queen, a lover, a leader, and above all, a woman who changed history forever. There are names that time cannot erase, and Cleopatra is one of them. The Queen of Egypt, whose allure, intelligence, and power transcended the ages. But what do we truly know about the woman who captivated emperors, defied empires, and left an indelible mark on history? Cleopatra VII, a name that echoes through the corridors of time. Yet, what lies beneath the myths, the legends, and the painted portraits? Who was the woman who ruled Egypt at a time when the world was shifting beneath her feet? How did she rise to power, and more importantly, how did she stay in power? Cleopatra was not just a beauty who seduced mighty men, she was a ruler of unmatched brilliance. While others sought to conquer kingdoms with swords and armies, Cleopatra wielded her mind like a blade. Fluent in several languages, educated in philosophy and science, she was a queen who ruled not only through power but through wisdom. She wasn't a passive participant in the Games of Thrones, she was the architect of her own fate. Her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony are well known, but let us not forget that it was her vision, her boldness, and her daring decisions that turned the tides of history. Cleopatra understood the delicate balance of power between Rome and Egypt, and she played her cards with unparalleled cunning. She wasn't just a lover or a pawn in political schemes, she was the strategist, the mastermind who shaped the very future of her kingdom. But what secrets did she carry with her? How did this young queen, with the weight of an empire on her shoulders, navigate the treacherous waters of Roman politics and military might? How did she manage to hold on to Egypt when Rome loomed ever closer, intent on swallowing the last vestiges of the ancient world? Her reign was marked by challenges, civil war, betrayal, the threat of invasion, yet Cleopatra remained resolute. She sought not only to preserve her own power but to protect the soul of Egypt itself, a civilization that had stood for millennia. She knew that her destiny was not only about survival, it was about the legacy of her people, the culture of her ancestors, and the future of a world that could not afford to forget Egypt's glory. In the end, Cleopatra's life was a tragic one. Betrayed by fate, abandoned by her allies, she chose to die on her own terms rather than live in shame. Her death was not the end of her story, it was the final chapter of a woman who defied the odds, who broke the chains that sought to bind her, and whose name would live forever as a symbol of strength and resilience. Cleopatra's secrets may remain hidden, her life may never be fully understood, but one thing is certain, her legacy endures. She was not just a queen, she was a woman who commanded the world to remember her, a woman whose intelligence, beauty, and bravery still echo through the annals of history. Let us remember her, not just as a figure of myth, but as the embodiment of a queen who changed the course of history with her intellect, her courage, and her unyielding will.